Welcome to Damon Does the 6 questions, where the same 6 questions can tell a unique story. I am your host, Damon, father of 2, husband of 1, and leader of this here Damodcast. My next guest is an award-winning fiction writer, poet, and editor. She was recently honored as a 2020 World Fantasy Finalist in the Special Award Professional category for her contributions to the genre. Her short story, Love Hangover, will appear in the upcoming anthology, Slay, Stories of the Vampire Noir. Please welcome Sheree Renee Thomas.
Hello.
Hello, thank you, and welcome. I appreciate you taking time to talk to a perfect stranger.
Thank you for having me.
We have a connection. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
We have a special connection.
Ooh, what? Where?
You're from you live in Memphis, correct?
I do.
My family moved down there in '92. All my immediate family and a couple of nieces and nephews now live in Memphis, and they've been down there since then. So,
wow.
Yes.
So you're like hometown family. Lovely.
Yes. So
it is a beautiful, beautiful day here in Memphis right now.
One of my favorite authors writes pulp, and he had talked about how growing up, there were no black people until he found Charles Saunders, rest in peace, and Morrow. And he realized, hey, black people write pulp. That's awesome. And I've discovered over doing some of these interviews how important it is that we see ourselves. I never really thought about it as a kid, and it really didn't dawn on me until I got older and how it affected me and how it affects my children now, because my daughter said, all the time says, oh, she looks like me. Like, I never realized how important this was. There is power in fantasy, especially in stories that urge us to face the impossible.
That was me. That was me.
Can you elaborate?
That was me.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit for me?
Just the idea that, like, some of our first stories, of course, in ancient times were told probably around a fire. The stories is the combination of the wisdom that we've found in living, and also the hopes that we have for our children that come after us, or the communities that emerge from our roots and bones. And so stories are important. We pass down generational knowledge and how whether that don't eat that berry will poison you, or stay away from this cave. There are, beasts there, to, this is the way, this is the path over. This is how you get to the other side. This is where you'll be safe. These are the people who are part of the line that help you be on the earth. This is how you do this thing. This is how you do this dance, the story. So if so much of the world is about storytelling, and so much of our mission and our political backgrounds and how we build nations and everything is also about narratives and stories, then if you never see yourself reflected in the storytelling, if you never see yourself as part of that line, it does something to you. It makes your world potentially smaller because you don't necessarily see you being reinforced in that long ancient art of storytelling, which is so much a part of almost everything we do. You turn on the television and there are a million stories telling you to buy this thing, right? Or to, take part in this action or this service. Everything is about storytelling. So yeah, representation is important, even more so in the realm of the imagination, where it's just critical to your existence on the planet to be able to see yourself in other conditions, in other ways, in other paths, in other entities. You need that to solve problems. You need that to reflect, make meaning out of the world. You need to be able to imagine. We recognize it in children. We sort of kind of stump it out of us a little bit as we are coming of age and tell you, you're an adult now. But so much of our relationships also are rooted in our ability to imagine things better and to make them better, and to work and make it better. Yes, your little girl was me, and my little girls that are now young women now. We need to see ourselves. Boys need to see themselves, everyone in between, everyone beyond. You need to have representation to reaffirm that humanity in you. I'm thinking about the children's books that I saw, the few children's books that had Black people in them, Nikki Grimes and Lucille Clifton, works by Sonia Sanchez, and books that had, Virginia Hamilton, Walter D. Myers, and even the illustrations by Leo and Diane Dillon. They made a point of making sure that we were a part of those beautiful illustrations. I can look back and see myself with my brothers. I can go on and on about that, so I won't. But reading Octavia Butler's Kindred clicked the light in my mind as well, because at that point, a field that I had been reading as a kid, kind of moved in and out of as a teen, I kind of stopped because I didn't see a lot of representation in it. And I started reading only Black books, particularly Black women's books. But when I was in college, professor assigned Kindred to us, and I realized it was written by a Black woman, this fantasy novel that it involved time travel and the history of slavery in America. It just did something to me, and it totally changed my whole path and what I could imagine for myself.
All right. Are you ready to answer the 6 questions?
Oh, yeah.
Question number 1. When did you know you wanted to be a writer?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a writer because I loved all the stories that my grandparents would tell us and their neighbors. They would come and tell us tank tales that would give us chills. They would scare the living daylights out of us. And then some of the stories, some of them were like scary ghost stories from the country, right? Others were like scary ghost stories, or not ghost stories, real stories of history that they experienced that scared the life out of us too, but also made us think kind of differently about the world. And I was always given books by my mom and my dad, so I just put the two together. I wanted to write, work that other people would read, but that would make people think and feel the way the stories that I had been told would make people think and feel. So it was just a combination. So I was writing on the backs of bills, on envelopes. If I was lucky, they would give me like a little tablet, a little blank notebook, and I would write in there. I was doing all the things as a kid. So I just think that was a gift that I had early that I enjoyed. And it's also something I could do by myself with very little money and didn't require a big budget. It was perfect for me.
Was it more of a straight line for you and you just knew what you were going to do and you did it? Or was there some detours along the way?
No, it wasn't a straight line. It's like, it wasn't something that I thought I would do as a career necessarily, because I'm coming from a working class family. My dad was in the Air Force. Both of my parents worked for the post office. And my mom retired from the post office. So they were civil servants. My whole thing was that the lesson I got was that if you're going to have this ability or have these skills, you need to have a practical career where you won't be poor. And so writing was not the thing that occurred to me. So I thought I actually was going to have a career in the sciences. It was the labs that cured me of that. I was like, girl, please, you are not going to be sitting up in the lab for the rest of your life. No, you're not going to do that. So yeah, it's something I was always going to be a reader. I was going to be a writer and doing it on the side, but I thought I would be having a completely different career. I was winning contests and stuff as a young person. I was always in the arts. I wrote like what was it called? Living Color. Remember Living Color? I did a Homie the Clown skit for our, the Honor Society. That was a lot of fun. We did all kinds of stuff. So arts was always a part of the thing. And I'm in Memphis where the arts is key. We're everywhere, in every genre you can think of. But it wasn't until college when I had taken a nonfiction class. I think it was one of the few English classes I actually took, because I had tested out and I wanted to, study history and anthropology. So I was doing most of those classes. Took a class and I wrote an essay. The professor said, hey, I don't understand why you're not writing for the newspaper. I don't understand why you're not an English major. You're going to take this essay, you're publishing it, and you're going to be on the newspaper staff. And I was like, huh, what? And, it kind of reordered some things in my mind. So that old seed that I always had became something that really bloomed in my spirit, I guess, at that time. That maybe I didn't have to be a doctor or a lawyer. Maybe I could actually have a good life doing
Question number 2. What do you wish you had known when you first started out?
I wish I had known that I would have to do like a dog and pony show just to get people to read books.
Oh, wow.
Like, I wish I had known that you would need ring lights and microphones and and all these other things that are, that I never dreamed of. Let's put it like this. For me, reading Edgar Allan Poe, Ray Bradbury, Alice Walker, and everything, I'm thinking that, the writer's life. And I was still kind of enamored with the writer in a little room, in a little garret, in a alcove or something, a room with a view, that you write, pencil, lead on the page, and then it goes off to the publisher. At the time, I didn't really understand what publishing was. Later, I ended up working in a publishing company, but I didn't know the process of how it goes from manuscript to finished book. It goes to someone magical who reworks it, and a team of people makes it this beautiful book. And then person goes to a bookshelf in a library or in a bookstore, and they read it in private with themselves. And they have all the thoughts that I had when I was reading all the books that I loved, and even the books I didn't like so much. You have your own personal experience. Never occurred to me that so much of the writing life would be the publicity, public part of it, because I didn't really go to a lot of book signings and things. I like to say this because people forget that you have like your silent bottom line, the people who buy your books and you never see them, So I was a part of that. And it just never occurred to me that the industry was so much about all these other things too. If that were the case, I might not have pursued it as much, because I'm like the shy person that once she's comfortable will talk you under a table, but not the person who always dreamed of being in front of a camera, being a celebrity. Like, that's not a dream of mine.
Question number 3. What is your go-to order at your favorite hometown restaurant?
Ooh, I have a couple of favorite go-tos. So I would say a shrimp burrito with extra guacamole from Los Camales with a strawberry frozen daiquiri. Hello.
Hey.
And extra lime. And if it's not that, then I would have the jumbo shrimp with extra sauce from Pho Ben.
Where's that?
Pho Ben is on Madison and they're both on Madison, different parts. But yeah, both on Madison Avenue in Memphis. Those are my go-to places.
I will have to avoid...
Can't eat barbecue every day.
You can't?
No, you can't.
Aww.
They have to roll you down the Riverside Drive.
Well, that's fair. Question number 4. What are you curious about?
What am I curious about? That's the thing that I'm curious about. I don't want to find out about anytime soon. I'm curious about what happens next after we leave this mortal plane. I am curious about that, but I don't want to find out anytime soon. So there.
Do you have any theories?
I have theories, but when you say stuff, you manifest it. So I'm just going to be quiet, sir. I'm trying to live my best life now. I think we return to all that is beautiful in creation. I think we return to the essence.
Question number 5. Is there anything I should have asked but didn't?
Yeah, you should have asked me about my debut fiction collection, 9-Bar Blues, Stories from an Ancient Future. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I have been writing short stories and poetry and the occasional essay for a good while, and editing a lot of wonderful, amazing writers. I have 2 other really cool hybrid collections, hybrid in the sense that they're multi-genre. They're short stories and poetry, because that's just how my brain works. But this is the first collection I've ever done that's all short fiction, all mine, in one place that you can enjoy and just explore different worlds. So Nine Bar Blues came out at the end of May. The pandemic pushed it back. It was supposed to come out in April. It's been great. It came out from Third Man Books. You can get it from Third Man Books or anywhere where books are sold. Get it on my website at ShereeReneeThomas.com. It's a little something for everyone. Time traveling stories from the Jubilee Emancipation era. I've got a quest story for people who like Indiana Jones type stuff, or even like the new Lovecraft Country series that I've been obsessed with, which, by the way, I'm not reading the book until I finish the series because I don't want any spoilers. I've got all the themes throughout it it's like different musical genres. So if you like Black music, you're going to have, like, if you like hip hop, there's a little bit of that, stories that have some of that in it. If you like house music, then you would enjoy that. Blues, funk, soul, all the themes, all the themes, as we say, are kind of threaded in there, even a little country. The stories are very different. So it's science fiction, fantasy, the marvelous real or magical realism, and some scary stuff, because I have to do horror.
How do you use hip-hop in your stories?
Oh, okay. So the character from Head Static is operating as a DJ. So people think that they are DJs, but they are something else. They're around at some of the most critical moments in Black music creation, and they have a very long lifespan. So we'll just put it like that. So they're in the middle of the scene. They're in the scene. My story for Slave, Love Hangover, is set in the amazing nightclub scenes of the 1970s in the disco era.
Very cool. Music seems to inform all of your writing. Is that the case, or did I just extrapolate too much?
Not all of the writing, but all of the writing in Nine Bar Blues for sure. And the character that's in Love Hangover is connected to the characters in Head Static.
Question number 6. If you could create a new holiday, what would it commemorate?
That's such a great question. Let me think. It might be a holiday for the unsung heroes among us, and each person will get to decide who and what that means. So it could be a person that is in your community doing amazing work. It's not going to be the one that's always going to be pointed to or looked at. Or it could be someone in your past, in your family, who is no longer with us. So it's like a combination of Memorial Day, but also like a celebrate your everyday heroes day. And it just to remind us all of what it means to be good humans, good people on the earth.
If I snapped my fingers and this became a national holiday tomorrow, not the actual celebration of it, but it got ratified tomorrow, who would be the first person you would honor?
Who would be the first person I would honor? Oh, wow. Well, that person is no longer with us. It would probably be a person that I knew of as Peaches. Peaches is a person who was possibly trans before we were having public conversations about what that meant. I grew up as a little girl hearing, first of all, I remember seeing Peaches. Peaches came and got the children in the neighborhood to come and do outdoor events. We did, when my mom was a little girl, she was part of the Majorettes. When I was a kid, Peaches did block parties with my grandfather and the other block leaders, elders who looked after the streets of North Memphis. We did maypole festivals, which I saw again in like the Wicker Man, and was like, hey, wait a minute, we were doing this in Memphis. I don't understand the connection. I had to go back and do research. But Peaches was an important, wonderful spirit in the community that always cared about children, made sure that we were safe, felt seen, visible, loved, and kept us out of a lot of trouble because she took the time to do that and to create those spaces for us, even before we had access to the community centers and things like that. She would go and find us and make sure that we were occupied in a wonderful way. So I would celebrate Peaches. And I'm sure a lot of other Memphians have encountered or have their own stories about Peaches. And it's a person I hadn't thought about in a long time. And I realized I missed them. So thank you for that wonderful question.
Hawk your wares, sell your stuff. Do your marketing.
Do my marketing. Oh yeah.
Do your dog and pony show.
The Dog and Pony and Circus Show. This is a Cirque du Soleil. This is the Afro Soul Show. Visit me at www.ShereeReneeThomas.com. ShereeRenee Thomas. My dad loved the E's. ShereeReneeThomas.com, or follow me on Twitter at Blackpot Mojo. And I'm on IG as well under Sheree Renee Thomas. So hey, yep.
Blackpot Mojo. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Damon. This was wonderful. Thank you. And I'm glad we have a Memphis connection. You got to holler when you get back to the city.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the show, take another 2 minutes, log on to Apple Podcasts or wherever you downloaded this, leave a 5-star rating and a review. It would help the show grow. Remember, you can contact me at Damon Does, all one word, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have a question or suggestion, you can also contact me at Damon Does, once again, all one word, at gmail.com. Next week's guest is one of the biggest reasons for last month's interviews. She's an educator, writer, and has a connection with my family, believe it or not. I'll be talking with the editor and driving force behind the anthology, Slay, Stories of the Vampire Noir, Nicole Givens Kurtz. So until next time, see it, hear it, speak it,